It's that time again, Our Town Live, where friends, family, people you know share with us their unique bits of wisdom for another show.
Are you unhappy at work? A change is in your future. You know, we all can't be astronauts, professional athletes, dolphin trainers, or test pilots. Some of us have to work for a living. I'm not implying that the people in those professions don't actually work. I'm suggesting that some jobs might not seem like work. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those jobs, and I'm guessing you don't either. For the majority of us, work is a daily grind of repeating the same repetitive task day after day, month after month, year after year, while spending 8 or more hours a day with arrogant bosses and surly coworkers. There is, however, hope for us drones. A change is coming. It may not be today, tomorrow, or even this year, but your present situation will change. It has to. It's the law. Okay, maybe not the law, but it is a law. It's known as the universal law of impermanence, which states that everything changes. Confucius said, find a job you love and you'll never have to work another day in your life. If that sounds good to you, you probably don't want to wait eons for it to occur. Buddhism teaches us that we can either wait for the change to occur naturally or we can initiate the change. It's the difference between taking control of our lives or leaving it all up to the whim of the universe. How much time have you spent actually trying to improve your situation? Sure, complaining is easy, but it accomplishes very little. Have you actually looked for another job? Have you tried to improve your skills through in-house training, adult learning centers, books, or correspondence courses? If none of these options are available to you, have you tried creating a better relationship with your boss and coworkers? Even the smallest step in the right direction is progress. There is no one solution that's perfect for everyone. We all have unique situations, but if we are persistent and creative enough, there are always options available to begin the process of change. Some people believe that finding happiness at work is as elusive as finding the Holy Grail. But how will you know until you really have tried it? You can help speed up the process of change, or you can wait for it to occur naturally. Either way, a change is coming. It's a law. Understanding work stress will allow you to take control. You may be experiencing the symptoms of work stress burnout even if you're as young as 25 to 30 years of age, though most people affected are in their early 40s. Some people experience a sudden grief and loss, while others perceive that something is changing, but it may take several years to manifest. Are you feeling a lack of personal achievement and satisfaction at work? This is one of the early warning signs. Is going to work a time-consuming drudgery and work itself a day-long bore? Do frustration levels increase exponentially as you grapple with life issues, which could show that you are not in control? If so, you're not alone. You're on the downhill slide to work stress burnout. Don't expect your spouse or boss to understand what you're going through, as burnout is extremely personal in nature. You're having the crisis, not them. You may be led to blame your spouse or boss for the way you're feeling, as they seem to be the closest source of your pain and angst. However, if your condition is true workplace burnout, then you will need professional help to shift your perceptions into a more realistic balance. There are emotional and physical symptoms associated with what you're going through. Let's talk about some of the emotional symptoms of stress experienced at work. The emotional symptoms usually show up as the first sign of burnout. You may often feel an unrelenting stress, lack enthusiasm, have a sense of loss of control, as well as experience an unexplainable grief. You may want to blame those around you for the way you feel, but this rarely resolves the inner turmoil that you're experiencing. In severe cases of work stress burnout, people experience thoughts of suicide, and even in mild cases, the thought of total detachment through this means may seem to be a way out. Many people who experience the emotional symptoms often show up at the door seeking help with a loss of spark in their personality. Nothing I do is worth it anymore, they say. This feeling often results in a loss of productivity and creativity. It also fuels negativity and cynicism, with a quickness to get angry and blame others. Over time, you may find solace in detaching yourself from others. However, this rarely resolves the issue. There are physical symptoms that accompany job stress. Work stress burnout also affects your body. The feeling of never being able to do enough may drive you to work extensively long hours in an effort to catch up. Physical exhaustion may take the form of headaches, physical shaking from head to foot, inability to think clearly, and being unable to relax. Physical exhaustion also causes you to lose your natural communication ability. So communication between your spouse and children, your boss or coworkers may sometimes become explosive. There is also the possibility of experiencing gastrointestinal problems as your body is unable to cope with extensively long hours of work. Is there a solution? You bet. In a survey conducted a few months back, we realized a very crucial fact pertaining to professional careers. A common question is your job really stressful? What was really uncommon was the result of the survey. We realized that a majority of the survey takers were happy with their job. Every morning was a new challenge to them as far as their jobs were concerned. However, this was a positive feedback and contradicts the fact that many people are unhappy with their jobs. So we researched more on the topic. This is what we found out. 90% of the masses are happy with their job but extremely stressed because of many allied factors. Here goes the boss's pet, a phrase used commonly against people that try to be extra friendly to their seniors or bosses. This is mainly done with the motive to get noticed in the eyes of your seniors or bosses. People who are called so because unavoidable stress to the rest of their colleagues. Their colleagues won't just envy such people, but would be worried that their contribution towards the company would be overlooked and decisions could be influenced by that particular person. On the other side of the story would be the fear incurred by such people of losing the attention that they got from the seniors. This could be considered as one important factor that could cause that person to part ways from the company or cause their colleagues to do so. Another point that was high up in the list of factors that cause stress in a corporate environment is sabotaging the company. This can happen in many different ways. Let's take a look. A senior chef of a hotel got a better job opportunity at another place. He made up his mind and decided to leave. During his notice period at the company, he offered better job opportunities and remunerations to his junior staff and asked them to quit too. They did the same and joined him at the new workplace. All the chefs who left were happy. However, this is not the end of the story. Here we see the one person so easily sabotage the entire hotel. This is one concern that keeps bothering many people. They keep living under the fear that if any member of their team quits, then how do they manage the rest of the team so that it doesn't look like the effect hurt the business. Another cause of the stress element in everyday professional life is competition. In fact, competition is one issue that, if done over a certain limit, could be harmful if in any phase of life. Example, two good friends were employed at the same law firm. They were new, and the urge to impress their seniors was obvious. This led to more competition between the two of them. For every small case they got, they were always a tough battle for the pole position. Every case was thoroughly studied, well-researched, and amazingly presented to their seniors. The seniors were happy with both their performances. However, something that was ignored and later faded was their friendly and their trust in each other. Healthy competition is always a step towards success, but over a certain limit it could be very harmful. This competition would make all the competitors stressful. It could cause ill health, mental sickness, employee sabotage, or even force an employee to quit their job. Last but not least, backstabbing a colleague. This happens in most cases and can cause a lot of stress to the person who's being backstabbed and the person who backstabbed them. The first person may be extremely stressed as they were backstabbed once and would fear to trust any other employee. They might also be forced to quit their job due to bad performance. The backstabber, on the other hand, will also be stressed because he would fear the fact that someone else could backstab him, or else if his colleagues would realize his behavior, then they would avoid him and ignore him completely. People generally backstab other friends or colleagues with the intentions of hatred, envy, and jealousy. These were some conclusive factors that the second survey resulted in. One more thing we often see. People often change their jobs because they were offered more pay or a lesser, hard-working job. Your work should internally feel so good, so great. So work hard and true. There are no shortcuts in life. You may try a shortcut, but soon you will realize that we don't work for the money, but we get money because we work and enjoy it. Shifting your focus. The first step toward assisting in stress relief is to realize where the stress is coming from, namely yourself. No person or situation in and of itself directly causes stress, depression, frustration, or anxiety. Rather, it is the meaning and attitudes a person attributes to the external triggers experienced that result in stress. A worker who panics when told he or she is going to be laid off is likely to believe the cause of their stress is exclusively due to the pending layoff. In actuality, the cause of the panic anxiety is not the bad news of the layoff in and of itself, this is called a triggering event, but it is instead the individual's attitude of catastrophe. They attribute total disaster to this bad news, resulting in feeling overwhelmed with panic anxiety. In general, people respond in their own unique ways to external stimuli, even when such stimuli are to be only negative. This guide is designed specifically for those people who initially respond to external stressors as if they are catastrophic. Most of the literature on the subject of stress relief, particularly of the self-help genre, offer a routine list of conventional exercise aimed at symptom relief. The next level of stress intervention is by many professionals who typically refer people in crisis to psychiatrists who are quick to prescribe the medication instead of talk therapy. Implicitly, they aim to reduce symptoms rather than to identify underlying causes. The authors of this guide strongly believe that symptom relief alone is not sufficient enough to enable those in need of relief to feel significantly better. Attitude shifting. The need to shift from a negative attitude to positive, and how to do it. One factor that makes this guide unique is the rarely mentioned, if at all, fact that there has to be a shift in a person's attitude towards his emotional responses to the trigger events for effective long-time mastery to occur. This shift necessitates a change in attitude from a negative one to a positive one with respect to experiencing anxiety, frustration, depression, and/or stress. The author, Gibbs Williams, says, "This is so because I have witnessed that most people who come into the first psychotherapy session in a state of crisis, when asked about their attitude to the anxiety, depression, frustration, and stress, characteristically respond. They get more anxious when they are anxious, more frustrated when they are frustrated, more depressed when they are depressed, and more stressed out when they are stressed. Thus, they typically hate these feelings, experiencing them as attacked by individual enemy forces, wishing they could instantly rid themselves of their painful discomfort, rather than confronting them head-on, viewing them as inevitable life limitations that have to be tolerated. What you must realize is that these feelings are not pathological symptoms that should be suppressed or masked. Each of them is a normal, healthy reaction to inevitable life limitations. Each of these normal reactions is necessary for our survival. They each signal that some act of creative intervention is necessary to resolve inevitable complicated life problems and to ensure basic survival, as well as contributing to the creative process of forging and sustaining a life of meaningful, significance.